about my panel of guests. Okay, I got an amazing panel here. What we decided was we wanted to talk to the most influential, the people who are out there on the internet really making the biggest difference, and those are the bloggers, the people who bring you the information every single day through their writing, through their opinions, through their research, to give you the real scoop on what's happening, something that you can follow that, you know, will either bring you experts, bring you expert opinions, or give you their opinion, which, I read them and I get so inspired by so much of what's written, and I just wanted to be able to learn about them, learn about their stories, what inspired them to do what they're doing. We have a great lineup here. We have Annie from PhD in Parenting, amazing Annie. I spoke to her this morning and I was just so excited to finally get to speak to all these people in person. I've been chatting online, and to finally get to speak voice to voice was definitely great. We have Gina, the feminist breeder, with us. Excellent. We have Summer from greenandcleanmom.org, the Green Mom on Twitter. And we have Callie, the Eco Chick. And we have Emily, our very own Emily Dickey from Baby Dickey. And live in the audience, we have Melissa, and she is one of our viewers. She is Newbie Mom, and you guys will know her because she has been with us on the show, right?
Yes.
Melissa? You've been, yeah, woo! Melissa's like, woo! Yeah, Melissa's gonna come talk to us, all right? And she's gonna give us, be here with us, and she drove all the way from New York to be with us, right? Yay! Brooklyn's in the house, all right. So let me go over, I'm gonna start the show by going over and having a little chat with my friend Jamie over there, okay? Yeah, Jamie's gonna give me my seat over there. No? Do I need a glass? No, Jamie's got his glass over there.
For you.
Yeah. All right. There we go. All right. Oh, we got the couch going. Yeah, don't fall asleep.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Cool. Awesome. So here's the thing. You know, when I started to do the show and you started coming on with me, it just brought that element that I just love. Every time you're here, it just brings that piece of like that like oomph that we really need. And every show, it's like, no matter what I'm talking about, I'm thinking I'm doing this really great job, and everybody's like, where's Jamie? And I'm like, well, Jamie's not here tonight, but I'm here. It's okay.
Well,
okay, well, when's Jamie coming back? So just, I wanted to have you here. I'm just so excited that you're here.
It's quick. I just take the train.
And then he sleeps over. The kids get your bed ready for him.
The kids make my bed.
And it's an awesome night, right? And we let our wine, and we have fun.
We have good food.
So tonight's show, and this is really relevant for you too, because tonight's show is all about how the internet and social media has changed motherhood. Or in this case, gunklehood.
But I mean, it's even, you know, clearly I'm not a parent, and many people do think I'm a father, but I'm not. But I have found, you know, Facebook and Twitter, they're amazing. Because it's like all of these moms, if they, you know, can't afford my services or whatever, all they have to do is tweet me. Yeah, absolutely. I answer gear questions all day.
Tell them a little bit about what it is that you do and how you got involved in being online, and like, because I don't know if everybody knows like exactly what your background
I was an actor, and Bye Bye Baby hired me to demonstrate the Bugaboo Frog all day. So I was shoving one product at people all day, and I was not okay with that. So I learned everything on my own. And I would go to baby stores on my days off and read every blog I could. I started doing registries there, was booked 4 months in advance because people didn't want anyone else. Then I started my business about half a year before I left Bye Bye Baby, and when I left Bye Bye, I started working at Real Birth, which was a birth education center in New York. So I started working with all of these doulas and LCs, and it completely spun everything that I knew. And it was fascinating.
What they're talking about is so different.
Very, very different than a retail
completely
thing, you know. And I left that Real Birth last spring because I was in New York Magazine in their best of issues, so I got very busy very fast.
Yes, I'm sure you did.
And so now I just kind of, I'm a baby planner, for lack of a better term.
How great is that to have Jamie do your baby planning for you, right?
Yeah.
These women must love you.
I mean, I'm still very close with most of them.
I'm sure
I know if it's like Tuesday, I go to Central Park at Sheep's Meadow and I see the babies.
And how has Twitter and social media and Facebook and the internet helped you with your business?
It's connected me because a lot of moms are not on Twitter. You know, moms don't have time to like, I'm sitting here nursing, but I'm going to tweet. Like, it doesn't happen. But in terms of networking with bloggers and companies, it's amazing, and I think a lot more moms should use Twitter. You know, you have a question about a product. If a company is really on top of their social media, they will get back to you. You know, it's an amazing resource.
That's a great point, because sometimes you're wondering, like, well, how do I get in contact with the company? How do I, you know, get right to my question? And I know for myself, I've actually contacted people on Twitter, and you get an answer like that.
I set up almost 45 appointments for the ABC show in Vegas, all on Twitter.
It's fantastic, fantastic, So, and you've also gotten your certification recently, right?
I was just certified as a child passenger safety technician a few weeks ago, so
nice.
It's so fancy.
Okay, so what Jamie's going to do for us later is give us some tips on installation on your car seat, right? Because he is now certified on how to do that, and give us some really good tips for the car seat, right? So we're going to come back to Jamie for that, okay? So tonight, our first guest is someone very special. This first guest is Summer, and Summer is the greenandcleanmom.org. That is her website, and Summer is on the line with us. Summer, can you hear me? Summer?
I can.
Oh, hi.
There's a delay.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good.
Awesome.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for joining us. I'm really excited to have you and have you share your wisdom and your experience with all the viewers. They're really excited to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great. Could you tell me, Summer, you know, I know that you have your website, and I know that I'd love for you to talk a little bit about how you got started and what it's all about and what inspired you.
Okay. Well, you know, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had a 4-year-old and a 2-month-old, and I was trying to go green, basically. I was watching a Oprah episode. That's a typical stay-at-home mom, I guess, for me. I watched Oprah. I folded laundry every day at 4 o'clock, and I was watching an Earth Day special, and they were talking about the different products you were using and how it was impacting your children's health, and a light bulb went on. It was like kind of my moment, and I started researching. I started going to the store. I started asking questions, and I really didn't have a lot of people to turn to in a really small community. I kind of had like a third eye. And that's when I turned to the internet and social media and blogging, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I thought, I'm just going to write about what I'm learning, and I'm just going to see who else is out there. And that's how it started, basically. It was just me reaching for others like myself to learn from and for me to just share what I was learning.
Yeah, it seems like that's how a lot of people start with blogging and not thinking anybody's going to read what they're actually writing, and then there's people who really want to hear from you.
Yeah, I was like, you know, it's kind of if a tree falls in the forest, does anyone hear it? And you know, people were listening, and I didn't know who they were, but they became my community. They became my friends. And you know, I know there's a lot of them on the line, and you know, I've met Annie in person and Callie, and you know, I've met Tina in passing at Blog Her and at events, and you know, I've become really great friends with people that I never would have become friends with had it not been for social media and the internet.
Well, it's fantastic because you really do connect with so many like-minded people. When you're all talking about the same topics, when you're all interested in the same topics, there you are actually connected by something, even though there's a distance between you. With the internet, it sort of brings you all together.
Yeah, you can be miles away, hours away, days away, and you still have some really good friends online, and you do connect with common interests. But a lot of friends I have also have not necessarily the interests I have, and so I read a lot of blogs that are not at all like my blog, and what we have in common is parenting, motherhood, you know, being women, and so we find other grounds to become friends on, and it's just awesome.
That's fantastic. And I know that you've also made some really good corporate relationships too. You've helped out some companies as well.
Yeah, and that's the funniest thing. I didn't start with thinking I could monetize my blog. I didn't start thinking I would become a consultant or I would work with companies, but it just happened. And, you know, from being blog ambassadors to, you know, blog ambassador for different companies such as like eBay Classifieds, or working with companies like Mama Angel Baby. We love the, you know, Mama Angel Baby. Eco Store USA. Working with companies that have missions and goals that are so similar to mine and that I believe in. And that felt really good to be able to work with them on social media, help them use social media, and understand where they're coming from and learn more about their products so I can tell people it's word-of-mouth marketing gone viral.
It's fantastic. I know that when we spoke earlier today, you were mentioning that you don't consider yourself an expert, but the person tell us a little bit what you meant by that.
Well, I was on a panel a couple of years ago and someone said, well, don't you want to be an expert in your niche? And I really don't want to be an expert. I don't want to be, when it comes to the green niche, I don't want to be an expert in saying, I know what every single thing that's BPA-free and chemical-free and safe for your children, but I want to be the person that can help connect you to your resources. And I think that when you put yourself in my position in the green niche as an expert, there are a lot of liability issues. And so I just am really careful at saying, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a mom, and I'm really doing my best.
Yep.
And I know a lot of experts, like yourself and, Dr. Green and Alicia from the Soft Landing. I'm going to connect you to those people.
Right.
And they can answer your questions. And that's what I like to do best. I like to be the connection.
Well, I would say that's an expertise in itself, wouldn't you?
Well, I hope so. I
guess. You don't consider it. It's funny because after you said that to me, we got off the phone and I said, wow, but she is the expert. She's the expert at bringing it all together and using social media when so many of us may not know how to do it the way that you do, and rely on your expertise to make the connections. So it's awesome.
Well, thanks. I guess I never really thought of it that way, so I learned something tonight about myself.
That's really cool. It's really cool. Oh, it's great.
It really just is about me trying to be social with other people and share what I'm learning, and that's what social media is about. For me, it's the same as going to a library or going to playgroup or getting out of the house with my kids. It's just at a different platform.
Yeah, totally.
The same way that I would be social in person, I try to be social online.
Yeah. Speaking of your children, you had mentioned that it took a little bit of time to explain to your children and your husband what it is exactly that you do.
I've been trying to explain that for a long, long time. What are you doing on your phone? What are you doing on your computer? Why do you have to go to the hotel that has Wi-Fi? And it drives people crazy.
Yeah.
But I wrote a children's book, and it was really to help explain to my family and my friends what I am doing.
Yes.
My sister has had the pleasure of getting to know blogging and social media a little bit better by traveling with me.
Yes.
But most people have no idea. And so the book has been a great resource for just my own friends and family to read and say, oh, that's what you do. But in a really fun, humorous way for children, because I have a master's in early childhood education, and so my focus has always really been kids.
Yes.
And like yourself, being an educator.
Yes.
So
fantastic. We actually have a picture of your book here. Oh, there it is. There he goes. My mommy is a blogger. Well, I just feel so honored to be a part of the community now and to be able to do this show with all of you. I may not be typing and writing too much these days, but the filming is what I love to do. So I'm glad that we were able to find another medium here that we could all get together and share our topics as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's good to hear your voice, right? We never get to hear everybody's voice. This is a good way to do it.
It is, and I love what you're doing using Ustream, and there's so much data about using actual video, from YouTube to Ustream to get your message out there and video blogging. So it's awesome. It's great to see your face and hear your voice too.
Yes, totally. For me too. One last thing before we go. We talked a little bit about some of the negativity that can happen online as well, and it's not always positive. I put out this week how has motherhood how has the internet affected you as a mother, and I got some people that wrote back that said that it's been a negative experience for them, that they felt there was some judgment, some criticism, and we talked a little bit about that. And it's kind of like it can be both ways, wouldn't you say?
It can. I remember writing one of my first blog posts and getting a negative reaction and criticism, and it hurt. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, someone doesn't agree with what I'm saying, and you know, and I've taken offense to it. I've definitely had to grow thick skin over the years. And there's definitely been battles back and forth and comments, but the one thing that I've learned is that you have, if you believe in what you're doing and you're saying, then it's okay if that person doesn't believe in what you're saying and what you're believing. And then sometimes it's okay to hear that person's opinion and listen to it. If it's coming from a true place, and sometimes you can tell. If you just have trolls on your website and your blog, you know, trolls, and in my book I reference how mommy bloggers have to fight trolls, because we have trolls on our website that are literally just trying to get our goat. But sometimes it's really good to hear another person's opinion and something a friend might not say to you.
And isn't it funny how we focus on the one negative comment we get and seem to forget all the hundreds of positive comments we get? I don't know why the mind goes there usually, but it tends to do that.
Does.
Right?
Well, you know, you want everyone to like you. And they can't see you all the time, and you put yourself out there. You're so and with my blog and my Facebook and stuff, I mean, there's some really out there, and so when someone judges me, I'm like, it's like they're at my house saying, dude, why do you have that color carpet? You know, it's like, what? It's hurtful sometimes. But, you know, you're going to be who you're going to be, and you're going to have your followers and your friends, and you just have to remember that.
Totally. You know, Summer, will you hang out to do one Q&A with us? We have the best audience. They submit questions, and I just love to be able to answer their questions, and I've kind of picked one out for you if you would help me with it. This question came from Robin, and she's in Ohio. And Robin asks, for the guest bloggers, what one specific area of parenting have you found to have the best online camaraderie? So, like, is there any one area where you could say, you know, more people, there's more camaraderie on? I can't say the word. Don't even ask me to spell it. And she also wanted to know, how did the internet affect your I didn't even drink. Jamie's drinking over there, and I can't speak.
I know, I'm kind of jealous. I'm hiding in my minivan from my dog and my kids. I'm not kidding you. Like, okay, nobody talk to me during lunch.
When you come in studio, you get the wine. See, there you go.
Oh, I'm flying.
There you go. And how did the internet affect your pregnancy and birth experience? And I was just wondering if there was, if it did have any impact when you were pregnant or you were having your children. Did you use it, and did it help you?
You know, I actually found the internet after pregnancy. And there's a few different things, but I know we only have a couple minutes. And one of them is when my daughter was really young, she was diagnosed with asthma. And I found Health Child Healthy World and the internet and my friends so helpful in giving me tips, suggestions, and support when I was going through everything. You know, the asthma attacks, the late night ER, the, oh my gosh, I'm not sure what to do. That meant so much, because at 2 in the morning, when you are moonlighting and nobody in the world's awake, people are on Twitter and the Facebook, and that meant so much to me. I can tweet with my right hand in my phone and have a baby in my left hand just fine. And I know there's a lot of people online right now doing that as I'm speaking, and that was everything. I mean, that got me through a lot of nights. And, you know, hey, are you having strong coffee? Did you make it? That was wonderful for me. And I know if I were to go through a pregnancy, and, you know, Gina's on the call from Feminist Breeder, you know what? She had a lot of support through her pregnancy. And I wish I could do it again. I have to say I'm probably done. But I know that I would have the support of the community offering advice, tips, and encouraging me.
It's fantastic. I know. I see them all here supporting each other and all over when I watch, and I just think I wish I had that. My children are 7 and 9, and it wasn't the same back then it is now. So
I know, but you know what? I mean, your children are older now, but I get that same support now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, my gosh, my 4-year-old being sassy.
Definitely.
And 4 going on 13. Everyone's like, okay, and they're so supportive, and they're helping me and giving me tips, and I love that.
It's fantastic. And we are on to our next guest, okay? You guys ready? Yeah. We have a fantastic guest that I'm about to announce, and I'm super, super excited to have her here. Again, this is another person who I've been following and reading and just excited to have the opportunity to speak to in person. And this is Annie from PhD in Parenting. Annie, are you on the line with me?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Annie. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Hi, it's great to be here. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, we can hear you great. We can hear you great. Everybody's excited to have you in the house and to be hearing your voice and have this awesome conversation together.
Great.
Yeah. So let's just start for a moment and just tell me your background a little bit and just let everybody know how you got started in blogging. Everybody wants to know how you got started. You're very successful with it, and you just have such a unique and interesting blog, and it's just offered so many great perspectives for everybody to read. So tell us a little bit how you got started in doing all of this and how long you've been doing it for.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been blogging since May 2008, so it's actually, I think today or tomorrow, something like that, is my 3rd year blog anniversary.
Amazing.
So, been doing this for a while.
Happy anniversary.
I've been on the internet since, I think, about 1992, so quite a while.
Yes.
But in terms of the blog itself, I actually do consulting. I help my clients with their web strategy, and a lot of them started asking me about social media and wanted to learn more about that. And I thought, well, this is something I should really dip my toes into myself and get started with. So I thought I'll start up a blog. Needed something that I would be absolutely passionate about. I didn't want another blog about search engine optimization or something along those lines.
Right,
and I thought, what could I write about that would interest me and that would interest my readers? So I jumped on the parent blogging train.
Yes, and so you have 2 children, and is it really when it started for you? Is when you had your own children, your own interests in what you were writing about? Is that what inspires you today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, I was really just interested in doing a lot of my own research and learning more about different parenting techniques and things like that.
Yes.
And I've been doing a lot of reading myself, and then, did a lot of sharing on different parenting forums. I used to be a moderator on the Kelly Mom message board and was active on iVillage and other places like that. And then, really loved that, but I think also outgrew it to some extent and wanted to start up my own thing. So the blog really helped me, I think, to come into my own and to be able to start sharing my own thoughts and my passion for certain issues with my audience. And I really enjoyed building a community around that.
And you've built an amazing community. I know they really love you. You've got a huge following, and it speaks to who you are as a blogger and as a person, and just the information that you put out there, how much it's actually helping people every single day. It must feel amazing to know that you're reaching out to that many.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I enjoy it. It's it's not something that I would keep doing if it wasn't a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So it's definitely great.
You got to you got to do what you're passionate about, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Some of your topics I really connect with. One in particular is the whole issue of breastfeeding and then nursing in public that you've blogged and talked quite a bit about. Right.
That's definitely. It's I breastfed both of my kids, and always breastfed them in public. Wasn't really interested in using a nursing cover, and they weren't interested in having one over their head either.
Mine either.
And,
yeah.
And it's just, I've seen so much discrimination against mothers who want to breastfeed their children and do so freely and don't want to feel like they're tied down to their home. Mm-hmm. And I really got sick of a lot of the negativity that I saw on the internet. So it did end up being something that I've been quite passionate about and have written a number of blog posts on.
Yes, I know. And it's such an important issue because it's the beginning of changing the conversation in our culture, I believe, is the more that we see women breastfeeding in public, the more that we accept it as the norm, the more that we accept it as a cultural norm, and then teach the next generation that this is a normal thing to see and do. We start to change how that's going to be for our kids. I know my 2 little girls grew up in the birth boutique here, and there's nothing more normal to them than breastfeeding. So, and it makes me feel good to know that that's what they're learning and that's what they see. So,
absolutely.
I know you did an awesome video on nursing in public, and I would love to show it. Would that be okay for us to air it right now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Take a look at this video. This was a video that Annie put together on breastfeeding in public, and it's fantastic. Be right back.
But they're
Awesome. Awesome. Great, great video. I mean, just really brings the point home of, in our culture, how breasts are okay unless there's a baby attached to it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, what is, you got to really understand, look at that and think to yourself. I mean, I was sitting and watching the Gaga marathon the other day.
Why?
I don't know. I flipped through and there was Lady Gaga, and I'm thinking to myself, and people are upset about breasts and breastfeeding, and I mean, and this is what's on, and even on, like, normal regular TV where my children are watching, it's all okay to show, breasts, but somehow if we're breastfeeding, it's not okay, and it's not like this everywhere in the world.
Yeah, it's it's really ridiculous, and it's something that I've never been able to really understand. And I hope that the video helped to hammer the point home. And I think for me, it was more the reverse that it took me a while to understand. Was that initially I was thinking, why would anyone cover up? Don't cover up. It gives the wrong impression, and it makes people think that women should have to cover up in public. And over time, I've come around to saying, you know what? It really is. It's up to the mom, and she should be able to do whatever she's comfortable with, whether that is breastfeeding completely covered or whether that's breastfeeding topless. Really, it's entirely up to her, and each mom, each woman to do what's most comfortable for her and for her baby.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's such a great point, because it's not about making anybody feel uncomfortable if they're not comfortable with it, but being able to make your own choice and make your own decisions, and then not being judged for it. A lot of judgment that goes on, would you say? I mean, I don't know. I notice that a lot. Even times when I'm, watching and reading internet posts and people going back on Facebook, there's certain topics that have more controversy than others. And you wonder, like, where's all this judgment coming from, mom against mom? It happens quite often.
Yeah, I don't shy away from controversy at all. I actually quite enjoy it.
Yes.
But, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier in the chat on the side.
Yeah.
Debate is fine as long as people are respectful.
That's right.
And I love arguing with people and having good debate and hashing out the issues.
Yes.
And I think that it's really helped me as a parent to be able to discuss with people and talk about what works and what doesn't work, and what's better and what's worse. And it's not about judging someone for their choices. It's just about having a discussion. But I think that sometimes people can't see past that, especially when it comes to issues like breastfeeding, and for people who maybe wanted to breastfeed and then weren't able to. It becomes sometimes a very difficult discussion. Anytime you say that anything positive about breastfeeding, it becomes perceived as a judgment against formula feeding moms.
Yes.
And I think it's just really important for people to be able to step back from that and to not always read judgment between the lines, and to be able to have a rational discussion about things.
Yes.
There certainly is judgment.
Yes.
I'm not saying that there isn't any, but people read it into things a lot of times when it's not there.
You can't really tell what somebody's going through until you've walked in their shoes and what they've done. And so judgment is just sort of projecting your own experience onto somebody else's life, which has nothing to do with them. And, I see that over and over again here in my practice, whether I was as a midwife or as a lactation consultant. People come in and assume the minute they walk in, if they tell me they are not planning to breastfeed, that I'm going to jump all over them somehow and, like, force the baby on their breast since I'm a lactation consultant. And, I say over and over again, this is not about telling you what to do, but educating you and then helping you to make the choice that's best for you and supporting you in it. Always took that stand, whether it was with midwifery or now lactation consulting. And I think more and more professionals need to be on that same page as well, really in supporting mothers in their own choices. Unfortunately, people can't make knowledgeable choices. They can't really make choices without knowledge. And that's where I think there's a lot of the problem comes in, is that we're getting information from so many outside sources, corporations that have bad intent, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. Corporations certainly have a vested interest. They're trying to support their bottom line, to bring in a profit for their shareholders. And I think that that's just something that people always have to keep in mind when they're reading something from a corporation, whether it's, the word natural on their label,
yes,
whether it's, claims that they're making about their product, whether it's claims that they're making about supporting a mom. There's always that bottom line that they're keeping in mind.
Yeah, specifically, when we talk about the formula industry, the diapering industry, I mean, there's just so much garbage there, that is spewed out at mothers, and they really just, all they ever get to see sometimes are the advertisements or the information they're getting in pamphlets about breastfeeding from, formula companies from the hospital or from their physician offices. And unfortunately, that's where they're getting their information.
Yeah, and I think there's a real lack of objective information about formula feeding out there, and I think that that's part of the challenge is that you have, on the one hand, breastfeeding information that's coming from a wide variety of sources that are really supporting public health, whether that is the government, the World Health Organization, lactation consultants, the Latch League,
yes,
whatever it might be. Those are all organizations that are trying to support public health.
Yes.
And then on the formula side, you have information mostly coming from the formula companies.
Yes.
And I think it is unfortunate that they are the main source of that information. There is good information on formula feeding from, for example, the World Health Organization. And I really do wish that that was the place, for example, that people were going to get that type of information when they do need support on
yes,
breast milk substitutes.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very good point, and it's very rarely a lot of people don't even know what the World Health Organization is in our country, unfortunately. It's not that common of a term for most people. You also do some work with, you do speaking events as well, right? You were a speaker at the Blogger Conference, and I know that you've been an inspiration for a lot of your peers. How does that feel for you to be able to speak to other bloggers and inspire other young moms and young bloggers to go out there and voice their opinions and express themselves?
I absolutely love it, and professionally I help other people with their web strategy, and that's something that I enjoy doing to earn money. But also just casually with friends, I love being able to help other people out, to give them ideas, or to have them bounce ideas off of me. I really enjoy speaking at the conferences at Blog Her. I was speaking about, in particular, activism on the internet and moms, and really enjoyed that panel, but I've also done more generic talks as well. At Bliss in Canada, I did one on sort of just the basics on getting your blog started and the things that people need to know about content and writing and all of that type of thing. So a wide spectrum of things, but I think the more positive voices that there are out there for moms and for women in the community, the better off we're all going to be. So I'm happy to help and mentor people if I can, and I really love the mentorship that I get from others as well.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I know that speaking to my peers is one of the new things that I'm starting to. In 2 weeks, I'll be in Oklahoma speaking at the 11th Annual Breastfeeding Symposium to 400 healthcare workers, and it's a whole new thing to be able to spread the information and the ideas and the experience I have in speaking to women of this generation. A lot of it's going to have to do with social media and how to connect to this generation. So I've learned from all of you and from the show and to really bring that to the healthcare community, which is very much needed. So
yeah,
it's fantastic. Can you answer a question with us for one of our viewers, Annie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. So this question came in from Melissa in New Jersey, and Melissa is asking here regarding internet safety, and I thought this was a really interesting and important question. Regarding internet safety, how can I be sure that what I'm sharing is private and safe? I want to share pictures and videos with my friends and family online, but I don't want to be one of those stories that get turned into a Lifetime movie. Also, I'd like to be a mommy blogger, but I'm scared about sharing too much personal information. What is the expert advice on this? Do you have any tips for her?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, professionally, I do help other people with their web strategy, and that's something that I enjoy doing to earn money. But also just casually with friends, I love being able to Yeah, I think, I mean, there's a wide variety of opinions and approaches on that. Personally, I prefer to be careful. I know there are people who are even more careful than I am. I can talk a little bit, I guess, about what I do, and then talk about some other options as well.
Yes.
I don't use my real name for anything related to my blog. I actually use a different last name for everything that I do related to my blogging. I don't use my kids' real names. I have them each choose a first name to be referred to on my blog. So they're Julian and Emma on my blog, but those aren't their real names.
Yes.
I do occasionally share pictures of them, but I find them doing it less and less. I used to do it maybe a bit more than I do now.
Yes.
And I have a public sort of Facebook account that's related to my blog, and then I have a private Facebook account as well, and I do share more pictures of my kids with close friends and family on my private Facebook account than I do on my public one. So I have sort of those two separate online lives, my very public blogging one, and then a very private one that's only a sort of close circle of friends that are involved in.
Yes.
I know some people do go as far as saying they will not ever put any pictures of their children up online, and I think that's a fair approach to take too. If you want to be 100% sure that no one's going to be doing anything disgusting or strange with the pictures of your children, then absolutely. Jessica Gottlieb has actually a really good video up on her blog where she talks about that and the privacy measures that she's taken with her family.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that just are, they're a complete open book and are willing to share anything and everything.
Yeah.
Personally, I would feel like I couldn't say the things that I wanted to say if I was that open about who I am and where I live and what my children's names are.
Yes.
Each person has to figure out what they're comfortable with.
No, I think that's really great, and it kind of leaves it somewhere in the middle of what you feel the most comfortable with. We do share more information than some others do, and it's it depends on what you feel comfortable with, and I think it's a great answer from Melissa. If she's not feeling comfortable and she's asking the question, then there's her answer right there.
Yeah, but I think, text is great. You can share, I share stories without providing personal details. I share information without having to get into the nitty-gritty of, of what's happening in my family home necessarily.
Yep.
And I use a lot of pictures from, Creative Commons on Flickr. There's tons of stuff out there, pictures that you can use to support your posts without having to put up pictures of your own children necessarily.
Yeah, it's not necessary. The message is coming across anyway. They don't really need to know your personal information. And having two Facebook accounts and being able to share with your friends and family, and then having another for your blog viewers and readers is perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Annie, thank you so much for being with us. It's really been an honor to have you here with us, and I'm really glad that you were able to make it. And, really, thanks for being such an inspiration for so many people out there. I know when we announced that you were coming on, a lot of people wrote to me and said, oh, my gosh, I really respect her, and I read her blog, and I'm just excited to hear more from her. So hopefully you'll be able to come back and join us again at some point.
I would love to. Thanks so much for having me.
Okay.
And really would love to see the people who were listening in today come by and say hi on my blog or my Facebook page. I look forward to chatting with you all more. Thanks,
definitely.
Shari.
And your Facebook is phdinparenting.com, correct?
Well, my blog is phdinparenting.com. Facebook is facebook.com/phdinparenting. On Twitter, I'm phdinparenting. Pretty much anything, I'm phdinparenting.
You're just PhD in parenting. Jamie, you awake over there?
I was looking at the sleeping baby.
He's mesmerized by the baby over there.
Oh, and I woke her up. I'm awesome.
Oh, that beautiful baby. Let's see the baby over here. Oh, look at that. Oh, in her Swaddle Designs blanket. Oh, Lynette, are you looking at this? Swaddle doll up in her Swaddle Designs. How beautiful. We do have another guest, another wonderful guest to announce, okay? And so who we have on the line right now is Callie, the Eco Chick. Callie, are you there with me?
I am. Hello.
Hi, Callie. How you doing? Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for waiting around here. I know this is a long evening tonight. We've got a lot of people to get to, and I know you've been in the chat room here, and really appreciate you being on the line with us.
Oh, thank you. That's fun.
Awesome. Our conversation earlier this morning, I was really, it was so interesting to hear your background and then what you've been able to do with that background and bring it to what you do now. Could you tell everybody a little bit about what you've done in the past and what your website and what your expertise is now online and how you've used that for the internet and social media?
Well, my college degree was actually in biology, and I did some environmental inspecting and then moved to environmental consulting.
Yes.
And during that time, I started my blog just for fun, just as a hobby, and just to share with people easy ways to go green. And the more I got into it, I started meeting some companies and making some good friends.
Yes.
And when I was pregnant with my daughter, who's now 2.5,
yes,
I decided we were going to start using cloth diapers.
Yes.
And I had no idea where to start. There's not a whole lot of resources near us, so I started surfing online and started blogging about what I was finding. And before long, I had readers just coming to me, and they're asking me questions about cloth diapers. And then I had one reader continually ask me, like, you have to get on Twitter, you have to get on Twitter. There's so many cloth diaper moms on Twitter. And I told you earlier I was refusing to get on Twitter. I wanted nothing to do with it.
Right.
I hate forums, I hate talk rooms.
Yes.
But you have to limit yourself somewhere, and that was one of the places. But as soon as I got on Twitter, the cloth diaper community there is so strong. I was just amazed to see how many moms are out there who don't have local resources. So we all go to Twitter and each other's blogs and Facebook pages. And from there, I've actually quit my day job, and I have a new day job where I'm working for some cloth diaper companies. So it really has changed everything that I do.
It's fantastic. And to be able to do something that you're passionate about now, right? Change careers into something.
Exactly. I mean, it just makes me happy every day to go get up and go to work.
I just love these stories, over and over again. I hear people just, and when you think of the question of the night, how has the internet, how has social media changed motherhood, whether it's changed you from, being able to connect to other moms or learn information at a fingertip to actually completely changing careers and finding something that you love and finding your passion and your calling. And speaking to all of you tonight, it's just so great to hear how you've all gone from something that you would have never thought you'd be doing to where you are now.
Yeah, I mean, just making this change, it was one of those things I had talked about in my head and talked about with some, friends online for several months before I even spoke the words out loud. And one night I'm sitting in bed with my husband, and I was like, honey, what do you think if I do this?
Yeah.
And I expected the big, you've got to be kidding me. And he's like, okay, that sounds great. It sounds like something that is perfect for you. And all my friends, they were all supportive too. They're like, this is right up your alley. This is exactly what you needed to do.
Totally. And you have to follow your passion. I know that Joe and I made that decision a few years ago as well. We run the store here, and obviously this has always been my career, working with new parents, but actually taking it online is something new that we've done in the last couple years. And the feeling that I get of being able to serve thousands of people now instead of 10 or 20 in a class is unbelievable. It really is. The amount of people that you can reach and the impact that you can really have on the world is fantastic.
Yeah.
It blows me away. Even every week that we do the show, to see viewers calling in and writing to us and telling us how happy they are that we're doing it. You can see the impact that you're making through your work, and we feel the same way. And so you were also done a lot of work with Twitter parties, right? Tell us a little bit about the Twitter parties and how that came to be.
Well, with cloth diapering, there's a ton of different companies out there, and everybody wants to get their name out there and get their brand out there. And there's lots of, new and upcoming companies. I mean, I think there's over 100 that I know of personally.
Yes.
And they would always reach out to me, and with any blogger, you know, they're very willing to send out samples, to do reviews. And I mean, if you Google cloth diaper reviews, I mean, you'll come up with like a ton of blogs that's all that they do all day.
Yes, yes.
And I was looking for a way to take it beyond just a review and just a one-time interaction with the companies.
Right.
And I had a couple of people. One day we're sitting there, we're going, you know, these Twitter parties sound like so much fun, but I don't know how to get into them. So I started looking around, and we all started researching them. And for the cloth diaper community, everything, as far as Twitter goes, in the Twitter parties, everything was very geared towards the bigger companies and not for these smaller cloth diaper companies. So the rates that they were charging were just outrageous, and
Sure.
these small companies just couldn't afford them.
Sure.
So I was just tempted one day. I just got the guts, and I told one of my customers, you know what, I'll do it for you.
Yes.
And I had no idea what I was doing. I had watched several, but I had no clue what I was doing.
Yeah.
And we did last Earth Day a year ago.
Yeah.
We did our first Twitter party for the Real Diaper Association.
Yes.
And almost every week after that, the entire year last year, I did a cloth diaper company for somebody different.
It's fantastic.
And just the community is amazing. It just absolutely amazed me the one night we actually trended. And I was like, did we really just do that with cloth diaper?
Yeah. The impact.
Trended on Twitter.
That's amazing.
So, the impact that we have is reaching far more than the, couple hundred people that we reach in a night. The reach is way beyond that.
Yeah, it's just it's great to see how many people you can actually reach. And I guess Twitter was my first real introduction to social media. I guess it was a couple years ago when I first did my first Twitter party, and I remember just sitting there typing, going, I can't do this. I can't keep up. It seems so crazy. And then you get used to it, and I actually started to really love it, because you don't really need to say that much. You're not actually able to say that much, right? You got to really
you really have to have it planned out exactly what you want to get across.
Yeah.
And
you can't be long-winded. Can't be long-winded on Twitter.
It's hard.
Yeah, you get to the point.
I'm much more long-winded in person than I am on Twitter.
Oh, I am way more long-winded. Do you see? I'm actually talking. I'm not even typing because I'm so long-winded.
That's why I've done 2 tweets.
What did Joe say?
I think that's why I've only done 2 tweets.
Joe said he thinks that's why he's only done 2 tweets, because Joe's the most long-winded person I know. Twitter is definitely not for Joe. No, but it's definitely fun.
It takes a while to get used to.
It does.
Like I said, it's definitely not where I thought I would find my strength.
Yes.
But it's certainly, it's my home. I love Twitter and all the people that I've met.
Yes.
And it's more than just the cloth diapering community. In the earlier days with my daughter, it was the breastfeeding.
Yes.
It was the baby wearing.
Yes.
Baby food making. It was everything to do with our children.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It still is, but it's just, you have to find one thing that you're passionate about and really stick to that, because otherwise you can get lost.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I think I found a lot of things that I'm passionate about, which is one of the reasons why I need to do a weekly show every week. And my passion keeps growing here, but the fantastic part is being able to bring on experts such as yourself and other people who can really give us more content where I may not be the top expert in that field. We can bring it to the audience, and I think they've gotten so much out of it, especially in the cloth diapering arena. We've been teaching a cloth diapering class here for years, and it's probably the one thing that I've said over and over again that I regret the most when it comes to my kids, is that I didn't know enough, and I didn't know much about cloth diapering, and I didn't cloth diaper. I breastfed, and I ate healthy, and I questioned vaccinations, and I did all these different things, and then when it came to the cloth diapers, I didn't even think about it, and it's something that I wish I had done more research on and known more about. Had I had you and Twitter, maybe I would have known more, huh? How many people people.
It's so true. I mean, I even in real life, you find yourself reaching out to your friends. There's, people you'd never think in a million years would do cloth diapers. They come up to me and they're like, I think I want to try this.
Oh, yeah.
What can you tell me?
Yeah.
And,
how many in our audience are cloth diapering right now? Yeah, the whole audience is cloth. And how many people were planning on cloth diapering? One. But they're all doing it, And it's really fantastic. Yeah, and everybody out there, look at all those people Kelly, can you see all the people in the chat room?
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing. I just love it. And I see friends from Twitter. I see Robin and I see Wendy.
It's fantastic.
And everybody. It's awesome to see my friends on there.
Oh, it's great.
Hi.
It's so great. And I know that there's a book that just came out on cloth diapering, right?
There is. One of my friends that I've met online, Kelly Wells, has a new book coming out sometime this fall called Changing Diapers.
Yes.
A hip mom's guide to modern cloth diapers.
Fantastic.
We're actually doing a Twitter party for her on June 7th. So
Excellent.
I'm really excited to see her do really, really good things.
Awesome, awesome. And we have our DVD launching in the next couple weeks as well. So,
and I can't wait.
I know. I can't wait to see it either. We've done all the filming. It's like when they film movies and, you do clips at a time and you don't get to see it from beginning to end. You kind of shoot like the end and then all of a sudden it's the beginning. And when you start to see it all come together, it's pretty amazing. So I have a question for you, Kelly, that came in from one of our viewers. Can I ask you?
Sure.
Okay, so let's do a Q&A right here. We got Kristen in Washington, okay? And Kristen said, hi, Shari. Pertaining to tonight's topic, do you think that social media and the internet or modern-day information superhighway is the main contributor to the natural parenting movement? With circumcision rates declining and cloth diapering rates increasing, I think the ease of accessible resources available online has made such an impact. And I think we know the answer to that.
I definitely think it helps break down that fear for parents.
Yes.
To make it not as scary to take that next step.
Yes.
Whether it's breastfeeding in public or using cloth diapers.
Yes.
It makes it a lot less scary, a lot more accessible, definitely.
No, it's great. It's great. Well, thank you so much for being with us tonight, Kelly. We really enjoyed the conversation, and cloth diapers is always something that I'm always willing to talk about. So anytime you need any help on one of those Twitter parties, I'm willing and ready to do that. So we'll have to talk some more about that.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you.
Okay.
And we look forward to talking with you again soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for all the work you do. Appreciate it. So let's move on to the next guest here. Okay. All right. Awesome. The next guest we have is Gina, the feminist breeder, here with us. Hello, Gina. Yay, Gina.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for being so patient and waiting for us here.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be on.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited to have you on. It's fantastic. I just enjoyed our conversation earlier today, and it was just so awesome to hear your background, how you got started, and then how passionate you really are about what you're doing and what an inspiration you are to other mothers. And I know I've watched you and read and seen you on Twitter, and it's just fantastic. So tell us a little bit. You can explain it better than anybody can, I'm sure, on how you got started and how far you've come.
Okay, well, I think that the way that I got started was, maybe unlike other people, I really didn't get into this having any idea that this even was a thing. I didn't even know that people really blogged. I actually started out blogging, a version of blogging on MySpace, way back when MySpace first started, right at the beginning of 2004.
Yeah.
And, how people would just post little, they were called blogs on MySpace, but it was really just little notes. And I started out doing that, and that was just very private for my own personal MySpace friends and acquaintances. And then all of a sudden, I found a blog through a radio show, through iTunes. I was just searching around, so desperate to connect with other parents, with other mothers, and I found this blog called Motherhood Uncensored. I didn't even know that, like, blogging was a thing.
Yeah.
I found her blog, and I was like, wow, this is like a mom, like, who tells it like it is, and that's so fun, and she has this thing called a blog. So I guess what I can do is just take what I've been doing on MySpace and just, put it out there for other people to see.
Yeah.
And so that was the summer of '07.
Wow.
And I put it out there, on a real live blog on Typepad, and it really just did not occur to me that other people would even read it. I just wanted to be able to have a format where it was possible for other people to read it outside, like, my MySpace friends or whatever. I got the name because I had been surfing around on all kinds of, forums, the iVillage forums and things like that. What I had discovered was I felt like in becoming a mother, I really felt like you could be either a feminist or a mom. You were not allowed to be both. Like, once you became a mom, all of a sudden you looked at the world differently. If you were a feminist, then that meant automatically that you had no kids and that you didn't think about any issues of motherhood because they just seemed totally mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
And so I love the band The Breeders, and I come from that generation of rock chicks, and so I just kind of came up with that name, The Feminist Breeder, and at first, just thought it was kind of like, a big middle finger to all of that idea that you can't have kids and still be, a woman who thinks about women's issues.
Yes.
And so that's how I started it, kind of the big FU, and just ranting and raving about all the things that I cared about.
Yep.
And really nobody read me for a while, of course, because, where was I? And then things really changed when I started blogging about going for my VBAC, my vaginal birth after cesarean. A lot about my mothering changed when I started to realize that maybe my first cesarean didn't have to happen, and it was really upsetting to me, and nobody really understood why it was upsetting to me, and so, I got on the internet and found that other people were just as upset, and that other people had, reasons to be upset. And so I started blogging about my journey toward a VBAC, and in doing so, people found me.
Yes.
And then when I posted my VBAC story, which has kind of like gone down in history now, it's been covered by the Tribune. It was covered at the NIH VBAC conference. It's a huge government conference. And it sort of became this thing. And when that went up on my blog, tons of people found me, and tons of people shared the story because it was just such a crazy story, crazy ride, which is kind of like how everything happens in my life. And that's really, I think, what, quote unquote, put me on the map. And that's when I got introduced to a whole new world of things. And started finding so many more like-minded people, and even then, I did not breastfed my first baby. I didn't have the kind of support that I needed. It certainly wasn't cloth diapering then. It certainly wasn't baby wearing back then. None of the things that I do now, and that really this has been an evolution.
Yes.
And so I blog about my evolution. I blog about the things that I'm learning. I blog about the things that I am becoming somewhat of an expert on.
Yes.
I blog about how I'm getting through school. I'm trying to become a health law attorney now, based on my own experiences and me feeling like there's a need for that in the world, and it slowly it's just evolved into what it is now, into a place where I have so many awesome readers and so many people that I get to connect with through my Facebook page, and it's been an amazing journey. I never in a million years imagined that it would become this thing that it's become, because I had no idea what I was doing when I started out. I had no idea this even was a thing. But I'm really happy with where it's come, and I'm so grateful to have been exposed to all the types of women that I have been, including my fellow guests on the show. Obviously I know all of them, I read all their blogs, and it's just become such an amazing tool for me in just living my life, and I love it, and I can't really imagine waking up tomorrow and there not being this network. I really couldn't imagine it.
It's hard. Different. It's hard to believe that just a generation ago there was no internet, and that mothers didn't have that connection, and it's hard to imagine living without it now, isn't it?
It is. It's very hard to imagine, and I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine waking up tomorrow and not being able to turn to the people that I turn to, just to ask questions, to get information. I mean, it might sound totally trite, but I was cooking dinner last night, and I was like, okay, this can of tomatoes is expired. I don't know where to go to figure out whether or not I can still use it. So literally, I got on Twitter, and in 10 seconds, I had like 20 people telling me, oh, it's okay, use it as long as it's not this and this and that, you're fine.
It's
I was like,
fantastic.
I never would have known that. It's amazing, these tools that I have at my disposal. And yeah, I can't imagine where I'd be without those. I'd really be lost. I wouldn't know a tenth of what I do now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So. All the friends available at an instant, right?
Yes, at an instant. That's really cool. I mean, it can be really overwhelming, certainly, but, you know, if you can learn how to, use it most effectively, then it can be, an amazing thing.
Yeah.
So.
One of the things you just said that just struck me that, I just thought of is, I have all my friends and my viewers and my students that watch and maybe sitting there thinking, watching what I do and the years of, schooling and the credentials and the licenses and all the things that I do, and they go, yeah, well, that's good for you. You can go on there and you can speak with authority. And what occurred to me is that the internet really gives everyone a voice where, everyone has the opportunity to share their story. And we all have something very important to say, and it doesn't require a degree. And it doesn't require a specific expertise, because just doing and going through an experience actually creates that expertise in you and gives you something that other people want to hear about. And so when you talk about your VBAC and your VBAC story and how many moms related to that, and when you see the thousands out there that were really connected to you by your own personal story and what a difference it's made in their lives, I just can think of right off the top of my head 10 or 15 or 20 of my own clients who could be doing that right now with their own personal stories.
Right, and I really believe in the power of storytelling, because I feel like, historically, women's voices have been systematically oppressed and silenced and changed in history books, and I feel like we're at a moment in time right now where all of our women's voices, individually and collectively, can be used to tell these stories that have been manipulated and silenced for so long.
Yes.
And that was one of the main reasons that I wanted to let the internet, I guess, view my home birth, because we don't see home birth portrayed in the media, in the way that it really happens.
Yes.
We see a producer's narrative of it. We don't actually see the live thing. And when I was going for my VBAC, the thing that helped me the most was getting on YouTube and watching women give birth in the most unflattering light, and with no glossy production, just these women just having babies. And it was weird to me that I had a baby, but I had no idea what a normal birth looked like.
Yes.
And that is how so many women are these days. We just don't have any idea what breastfeeding looks like, until we get into it. We don't know what normal birth looks like, and the fact that I was able to get on YouTube and see all of those normal births really gave me the confidence and inspired me, and I was like, wow, women actually do this.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen it in any other medium before. I really had craved just seeing babies come out of women, and generations ago, every woman had seen this, certainly, and we don't now, and so that's why I felt like, with me live blogging my home birth, I thought, I have the tools to do this. I'm not shy about it. I was a musician in a very famous band before I got into all of this, and so I'm used to people looking at me, and I'm okay with that. And so I thought, if I'm willing to do this, I should. I feel like I have a responsibility to do this, so that people can be a part of it, so that so people can see a birth that is going, and I couldn't make it happen either one way or the other. I had to say, whatever happens, people are going to see it. It's going to be totally honest, and there's not going to be any kind of glossy narrative over it. And again, it was a story being told in the most transparent way I could make possible. And I think that's the power of the internet, is really allowing storytelling and allowing women to experience things that they haven't been able to for a really long time, or things that have been portrayed by the media or by history books in a way that aren't real women's experiences. So that to me is the power of all of this.
It's just so empowering, and it really speaks to us regaining our power as women, to be able to hear from each other, learn from each other, and with no filter.
Right, exactly, with no filter. And I think that the no filter part can be really frightening for a lot of people, and I think that both for the viewer and for the person doing it. And, you know, there were a lot of people, certainly that had a very negative opinion about me, me live blogging my birth. There were a lot of opinions about, you know, how dare I do that. But for me personally, I felt like a lot of people are going to benefit from this. And and the great power of the internet is that you don't have to look if you don't want to.
That's right.
If you don't want to see
turn it off.
Home birth, it's so great. You can just click the X button up there at the top.
That's right.
You know, and it's out of your view, and you know, so you can be a part of it if you want, and you can log off when it's not, you know, your cup of tea. So
absolutely.
That I thought I think is one of the great powers of the internet, is you can see whatever you want, but you don't have to.
Would you say that that's one of your favorite parts about having your blog and your platform, is being able to get out your message and being able to say what you want to say and without the filter?
Yes, definitely. And yeah, I'm certainly much less filtered than a lot of people, and I know that that's really scary for some people.
I love
my
it.
husband is completely on board with me, you know, and I know a lot of people are like, gosh, how can your husband stand for you to post this and this and that? And honestly, he thinks it's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
When he came home from work that day that I kind of came up with this idea just to live blog my birth, I was like, is this weird? He's like, that's like the best idea you've ever had. And I was like, awesome, you're on board. This is great.
Awesome.
And I had to go, you know, of course, in the beginning, my midwife was a little bit freaked out because she didn't understand like what actually was going to be occurring. And once I explained it to her, she was excited about it, and you know, everyone was really excited. But certainly, you know, I think I'm willing to go a little farther, and it doesn't occur to me that there's really, I guess I don't think I'm pushing it. I just, to me, I guess I don't know. I don't have a boundary.
Yes.
I guess.
Yes.
To me, it's just I just put this out there, and that's just who I am. And you like it or you don't, or you identify with it or you don't, or you know, it resonates or it doesn't. And I love getting that recognition response from people. I love when I put something out there that I think is, okay, this is weird, this is crazy, no one else has ever experienced this, and then I get tons of people that are like, oh yeah, high five, me too.
Yes.
I mean, that's really the coolest thing, and I think that's what a lot of bloggers are looking for, is putting something out there and looking for that recognition response, where people are like, oh yeah, me too.
Totally.
And then you feel validated. And that, I mean, if there's any point to any of this, I think that's probably it, is the feeling of validation in your own choices, and then discovering new ones and feeling validated there, and the support system that's involved. And I mean, it sounds like it's got its dark sides, but I really, for the most part, I think that's what it's about.
It sounds like an overall a very empowering experience, and it's been really great for you. And I can see from your viewers and from people who follow you that they absolutely love you and they resonate with you, and you're doing an amazing job. And I just want to acknowledge you for that. So thank you so much. Okay, you know, it's so nice to have you here in person, because every week I look over on the chat line and there's Newbie Mom. Newbie Mom. That's okay. Me. That's who recognizes Newbie Mom from online, right? You all know Newbie Mom. Okay, you all know her as Newbie Mom. But this is Melissa, and you know, I was so excited that you were coming to join us, because it's just as important to have the people who watch and have been a fan of the show since the very beginning. I mean, you've been on with us since almost the very beginning, and then took a ride out from New York a couple months ago to meet me in person, and that was just fantastic for me to be able to see you. And I just wanted to hear from a real mom, someone who's not necessarily blogging, how has the internet affected your mothering? And tell us how old your daughter is. She's your beautiful daughter over here.
She's 9 months, and she's over there being fussy because she wants to be nursed.
So we'll talk quickly.
Yes, we'll talk quickly.
We don't keep repeating.
Facebook was #1, and it brought me to you.
Yes.
I would say that every week I would come and say, do I need a PhD in cloth diapering? Do I need a PhD in baby food making? How do I do this? And every time that I look at the show, I would say, okay, that gives me some more information. Where else can I get information from? Other moms.
Yes.
So I created Newbie Mom for myself and for other moms to break it down.
Yes. Fantastic.
I would ask questions and moms would respond.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the most amazing thing. I would say, I have some stinky diapers. What do I do? I have stains on my diapers. What do I do?
Yeah.
And I get many responses.
Yeah. It was like a whole community ready and waiting for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you start watching the show before you had the baby? You were pregnant at the time, weren't you?
No. I had just had her.
Gotcha.
And then, you know, in the beginning, my background is I have to research a project.
Yes.
Every stroller, every car seat, every item that we have, I've researched it.
Yes.
So it went from researching stuff to reading the reviews.
Yes.
The reviews tell you a lot more.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden I found Facebook and Twitter where you guys talked about you get an instant answer.
Yes.
I said, this is great.
Yes.
So the more I was able to get answers,
Yes.
the more I wanted to tell other people what the answers I got was.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's where it began.
And do you find that there's any kind of negative, I mean, we hear a lot of the positives of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Has there been anything in the negative for you? Or has
Not
it all been a
really.
really positive experience
Not really.
for you?
So far
good.
it's positive.
So happy to hear that.
And I created a blog, I created my fan page, I created a bunch of things, and just like the topics tonight, I've heard about liability, I've heard about the safety of having her picture on the internet and
Yes.
giving out information.
Yes.
I worry about all that.
Yes.
So I'm hesitating. So
Yes.
I'm in the stage 1 where I have the blog, I've done some reviews, but I haven't really pushed it because I'm worried.
Yeah, and you know what, I think it's a valid concern, and I think that it's something that moms need to be aware of, is that there are a lot of crazy people out there.
Yes.
A lot of psycho people who like to take your images and use them for, things that they shouldn't be using them for, and you want to be careful with the images that you put out there. Maybe if you're going to be putting yourself out there with any kind of that you're not clothed in some way, that you want to put your full name associated with it.
Right.
So you want to really be careful. Sometimes we don't think like that because we don't think.
Right.
We don't have that kind of deranged mind, so we're not thinking about what other people could do. And so you really got to protect yourself and your children.
And your babies.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Sad world.
It's a sad world, unfortunately, but at least the good has overcome
Yes.
the negative, I think,
Yes,
especially
definitely.
in the parenting world,
Yes.
It's made such a huge difference.
And I've got to tell you, I am a mom that moved from Florida to New York, and that is huge in every single way. I was pregnant at the time. It was cold in New York. I moved from a house to an apartment. I was, my whole world was changed.
Yes.
I had to ask the questions of, how do I get upstairs, downstairs, outside with the baby, the diaper bag, the stroller, the car seat? How do I do that?
Yeah.
And I still battle with that, every day going, okay, now I have everybody's talked about a carrier. Get a carrier. So I got a carrier. It's wonderful.
Yes.
All
Yes.
these ideas come up from other moms. And
Fantastic.
All right, so we have our very own Emily Dickey in the house. Emily! Yay, Emily! Let's give Emily a standing ovation for Emily. Yay, Emily! Hi, Em.
Hi.
Hi! Wow, it's so great.
Hi.
We actually get to hear your voice.
I know. Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, we could totally hear you. It's all these months. Emily, before we get started, even in talking about your story and about you on the internet, I want to give out a huge acknowledgement to you. Okay. First, I want to say personally from Joe and I, thank you for all that you have done to make this show possible and have worked with us so, tirelessly to get the message out to all the moms out there and made such a big difference in our lives and those of so many that are watching. So really wanted to say thank you.
Em.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. And we wanted to make sure that we included you here in this conversation because you too have a wonderful blog, Baby Dickey, right? And we wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about what got you started and what's inspired you and how that's changed mothering for you with Ryan over this past year.
Well, I started blogging, it was about April 2009, the day after I found out I was pregnant. And I really didn't read any other blogs, I didn't know about any. I had a friend who was a journalist who had a blog for her job, and that's really the only thing I knew about it. And it was solely for the purpose of keeping my family and my close friends updated on the pregnancy.
Right.
And that was it. And then I got on Twitter. Again, no idea what to do with Twitter or what a tweet was. And I started searching and started following all of these, pregnant women and other moms, and just to have somebody to chat with. I mean, none of my friends in real life had ever been pregnant or ever had a kid. So I was searching for moms on Twitter, and just from having those conversations with them, just asking questions and chatting, they started reading my blog too, which
was never, ever the intended purpose.
Yes.
And I guess that's how we got to where we are today. I'll have to say, being a pregnant blogger helped get the readers. Giving birth also helps get the readers. If any of you bloggers need a tip out there, have a baby.
Have a baby. It gets you started.
Yeah. I remember being in the hospital and doing a Twitter birth. You know, I was using the hashtag Twitter birth when I was in the hospital. And my Twitter followers and my blog readers, like, doubled just in that thing. But that was December of 2009. So that's probably really when my blog and everything else really started to get up there. And then it was after that, you know, I had the cesarean, and then the social media and the internet really, I mean, yeah, it helped me through the pregnancy, but it was after the birth and the C-section that it really, really meant something to me and really started me on, you know, this is what I'm meant to use this for, to raise awareness about the cesarean rate. And not only did I get tons of support, and I found ICANN and started my own chapter, but now I'm also helping spread the word to support others who have been or will be in my place as well.
Yeah, and with the statistics the way they are, there will be many that will be in your place. Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know that you've created a lot of really good friendships from being online, right?
Yes. Like I said, none of my friends in real life have babies, and so you have questions and not really anywhere to go, and so you make these friendships online. And I mean, like Gina was saying, you can go online and get an instant answer to whatever your question is. You can get 20 answers in 5 seconds.
Yes.
So through that, talking with other moms, definitely some great friendships and people that I've even got to meet in real life, like at the blogger conference last year.
Yeah. I
met you.
Yeah, and we met each other too. Yeah, we met first on video, didn't we?
Yes. Do you want me to tell that story?
I would love it, because I didn't know it till I really didn't know your story about my DVD until today, actually.
So this is, I guess this is another example of how, I never planned for my blog or anything to go this way, and it has turned into kind of a job for me, a part-time job, and has allowed me to only work part-time outside of the home. It allows me to be at home more with my family. And so part of it, I did a blog review of Shari's breastfeeding DVD, Simply Breastfeeding, and I didn't watch it until I was home from the hospital with Ryan. But, new moms were tired, and I was, still on my pain meds and kind of drugged up after my cesarean, and was crying over breastfeeding. I was having such a hard time. It was so painful. I would clench my jaw and kick my feet when he came to nurse, and I didn't want to do it anymore. And Ryan, he's a week old. We pop in Shari's DVD, and I end up falling asleep. I probably saw 5 minutes of it.
I guess it was very interesting. She fell asleep in the first 5 minutes of my DVD. It's great.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay. I forgive you. Yeah.
But my husband, he ended up watching the entire thing, and the next day and for the next week, he continuously gave me these tips and pointers that he learned from your DVD, and he really trying to help me out. He'd bring a footstool for me to rest my feet on, and tell me just all these tips that he learned from your DVD, and they really helped. Like, I wanted to quit. I was in pain. It was hard. And he was like, no, you can do this here. This is what Shari said. And, so then finally I watched the DVD myself as well. But really that's my son will be 17 months on Friday, and we're still breastfeeding. And it's absolutely due to your DVD and the support that I got from that.
Yeah. It's bringing tears to my eyes. It's been our vision, Emily, and when you talked to me and you shared that with me earlier, I know how many times it's truly the dads who attend our classes who become the most passionate about the program and about supporting their wives and their babies. And to hear you say that, even though you weren't here in my live class but far away, someone I didn't even know at the time,
and having had it work for you.
We didn't even know each other. I just was sent the DVD, and then, from there I started the conversations by email, and look where we are today.
Yeah, look where we are today. We've made a big difference for people in the world now, huh? And I think we're going to continue to do that more and more as time goes on. What do you think?
Mm-hmm, definitely.
I love working with you. I think you're an awesome person. When we got to meet that time at Blogger, it really clicked for me, and I knew that you were the right one for us. And and we're just really happy to have you on our team.
Thank you. I'm happy to be a part of it.
I know.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Emily. Thank you for everything. Mm-hmm. Thanks for being with us tonight and sharing your story. And it's really inspirational.
Yes,
like I said to Gina, we're definitely going to do a show on VBACs. That just really hit me tonight. Like, this really needs to be said and talked about. And I've done so many of them in my practice. I think that we could put together a really great show. Anybody else want to know more about VBACs? Anybody in the audience want to hear a show on VBACs?
Yeah, we definitely should. VBACs and cesareans.
Yep.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I think we're going to definitely do that. Awesome. Okay. And we will see you next week, okay?